Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet, and today creating something timeless. Folks may recall for 20 years of Noble Ape, which will be next year, mid-June, I will be releasing 20 audio tracks. Some of them related to Noble Ape, some of them just audio tracks, and I've started the recording of the audio tracks. Well, actually, I've started the composition associated with the audio tracks. It's been relatively slow going. I think I've had 3 days off work after, 6 odd weekends on. And my mind is not yet in the place that I need to be in order to record a lot of audio, but I've been recording some audio. And I've been reflecting on the quality of timelessness, particularly with regards to audio recordings. I'm very mindful of what makes something timeless, and it's quite difficult, particularly in this day and age, of constantly updating cell phones, pads, all this other kinds of stuff. There's a lot of technology that is changing almost continuously. When you record music, it's very easy to pick up the latest synthesizers and these kind of things and just start recording music that sounds like other music of the day. But oftentimes that music dates relatively rapidly, and I'm very mindful of that. I also find this with regards to writing and various other forms that you can quickly get lost in modernity and probably ruin some of the elements, particularly if you want people to be listening to the music in 20 years' time. The Noble Ape development, or at least the early Noble Ape development, music was central. It was thematic and it was also anthemic. And the distinction between that is thematic just means it's around a theme. An anthem means that it's something that brings people together. It's certain kind of upbeat, driven, relatively simple melodies, but just something that basically gets you up and gets you excited. And these were critical elements in the early development of Noble Ape, because if Noble Ape hadn't had music, I don't think it would have been the same project. So I'm trying to take some of this energy and create music which is relatively timeless. I mean, obviously it's digitally recorded, obviously a lot of the instruments are synthetic, obviously the technology, I'm not put any scratching or any of these kind of elements in yet, but I suspect probably maybe a quarter, maybe a third of the tracks will have these elements in there in a somewhat subtle way. But given the past 20 years of music, scratching isn't as relevant as it was 20 years ago, but it can still be used incidentally. Finally, the words, as I will say. Maybe the lyrics, some might say, but I will say the words. This is something that I'm exploring with as well. Obviously, having listened to Short Funks, you might be familiar with certain elements of political ideas and these kind of things, and certainly if you listen to Stone Ape, you probably hear more of these things. Let's see how the words come together. It's something that I'm still working on. It's still very early days, even for the music. So my plan is, I've got a week off next week, I've got a week off the week of the Christmas festival, and I hope to use that time to record more tracks, and then to start experimenting with the words. I've jotted through rough ideas and words around the stuff that I've recorded so far, but I haven't actually produced anything yet, and I'm going to try to use that period of time, either next week or, 2-3 weeks' time, to start getting the words in as well, just to see how they work together with the tracks. And I'll probably do a final recording sometime, say mid-March, which will give me a chance to do 20 over a period. If all of them have words, if some of them don't have words, it can work out as well. But yes, it's quite an ambitious project, and trying to cultivate the element of timelessness is also very interesting. There's a producer called DJ Premier who I hope to talk to one of his artists who put up a Kickstarter, and I'll be interviewing him, sometime within, the next 3 months. I will put him in Short Funk, which is going to be the first interview in Short Funk. And a little bit outside from the style. It might actually be a bonus recording that I put out. And DJ Premier is interesting because he actually uses a very specific musician who composes large pieces of music for Premier to sample from. So obviously he doesn't have any, royalty or legal issues. And it's an interesting style because what samples are, at least from my perspective, is taking a vast body of musical work that already exists and finding very specific elements from it. And really, you need to have music that is in that kind of relatively popular realm in order to trigger certain memories, certain mental characteristics in the listener, because obviously the listener has subtle elements associated with the previous recording, or in many cases, for a lot of these songs, a large portion of the song is actually the sample and where does the sample come from and all these kind of elements. So I'm trying to break down some of that with regards to the 20 years of Noble Ape. You'll hear more of this through various short funks, but I just want to put that one out there. Creating timelessness. Hard to do. Very hard to do. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.